Okay, so I think Mina had an issue introducing me. He didn't know exactly what I'm doing, so I'm going to give you my pitch in 10 seconds. So I work in consulting, training, advising, and I work with many organizations, and I am so passionate about leadership. I'm so passionate about the power of a group of people, a group of entities, or a group of anything that's actually making things move in a specific direction. But I'm also more interested in conflict. I fell in love with conflict 20 years ago. And by 20 years ago, I'm not saying approximately, I'm saying exactly 20 years ago, 1998, in Athens, in Greece, when I was studying business, and I went to a diploma in political and economic studies, and I went to a workshop that was speaking about conflict and negotiation. It's that moment when I was sitting and I was listening to these guys, and I was like, here's what I want to do. Here's something that I'm really interested about. Here's something that I'm so passionate about. And this is what I pursued pretty much from that moment on. We talk about why people do things, why do people go into a fight, and how do you get in the middle of them. Most important two questions ever. Why do people fight, and how do you stop them from fighting? They sound very easy, right? That sounds very simple. They're not really that simple. The good news is I'm not going to talk to you about conflict resolution. Bad news is I'm going to talk about conflict resolution from a very different perspective. For so long, I've worked with groups, organizations, companies. But then I realized something interesting. It all boils down to one thing. One person making one statement, one sentence at one point, which was really amazing because Mark was talking about behavior. And it's not the behavior of one organization, it's the behavior of one person. One person saying the wrong thing or the right thing at the right moment, changing everything, changing paradigms. So I'm going to share with you something that looks a little bit too theoretical, but it's really not. This is the life cycle of a conflict. This is how conflicts look like when they get born. And they're cute, right? Conflict, I mean, how many of you think conflicts are bad? Show of hands? Oh, you all love conflicts? Yeah? They're not always bad, right? But what do they why do we try to stop them and prevent them if they happen? And when they happen? There's a very interesting phase in the beginning, and it's called the durable piece. And it's in every single relation. This is the part when you start dating and you look at each other and you look at each other's eyes. And there's so much love. You cannot possibly think anything could go wrong. Founders, this is the part when he's like, I have this idea of an amazing company, and we're going to start this company. Do you want to work with me? Oh my God, I love it. We're going to make so much money. We're going to change the world. We are going to affect peace in the world. And we get along. We can communicate with each other. We're going to build this company. We'll have no conflicts. Shall we have a contract? Who cares? Shall we have a charter about what happens when shit hits the fan? Who cares? We're going to be fine. This is the engagement stage, right? And then you start getting married. Okay, hold on. Why didn't we talk about how exactly we're distributing shares? Well, we get along. It's no big deal. Now, this is durable peace, right? And then you get signals and signs like, okay, something's about to get wrong. What do? Conflict prevention. You try to prevent conflicts, and that's good. This is kind of where Mark was talking about, and Mark even comes earlier, right? But you try to prevent conflicts. How do you prevent conflicts? First of all, don't get married. 2, don't start a company. 3, don't run for president. It's much easier not to do anything. Then you have no conflicts, right? But then you have to deal with yourself. And oh my God, that's going to be really bad. Because then you have conflicts with you. You start talking to yourself about what you should do and shouldn't have done. So they are there anyway. But now you have to deal with a situation where potentially you might have thought there would be no conflicts, or you thought there would be conflicts, but it's fine. We think it's going to go like this. But now there are signals and there are signs that something is going to go wrong. What do? We try to prevent them. There's so many ways. In case you haven't been in Egypt for so long, this is what happens in a street fight. When people start a street fight and a car accident or anything, they get out of the car. Anybody knows what's the first thing when a car accident happens? What's the first thing a guy does getting out of the car? It's very interesting. What? Loud voice. Now, actually, it's becoming even more interesting. The first thing they do is really amazing. They get out of the car. Now you have this. Boom. So the first one of them, or the 2 of them, get out of the car and they do this. Ada. What is this? And just try this. Whenever somebody does that, try this. Arabiya. It's a car. Just give them like stupid answers. It blocks them. Like they just don't know. Because they were going somewhere. إيه ده؟ فتترد and then your answer is like, oh, that's like. Then you start shouting. Just block him. It's like, عربية. And it's like, okay, shit. I don't know what to say now. But anyway, so they start, and they start testing each other, right? And they start a little bit of friction. Let's assume that this conflict is not prevented, and what happens is they start fighting at each other, right? What happens next? You have people coming in. What do these people do? What do? They watch? No, not in Egypt. Actually, it's very interesting. They don't watch. They get in the middle right away. They don't know what's happening. They don't know why it's happening. They have no idea. But people are about to fight, or they're fighting, and they're calling each other names. And they walk in, and they get part of the process. How about instead of you waiting for people to get out of the process, how about you prepare it? How about you prepare to prevent this from the beginning, and you have the third party neutral ready for you, because when things happen, you will need some involvement. You need a system. You need a charter to work with you. But unfortunately, and then, by the way, you hire people like us, or you hire me specifically, okay? To work with you in that. And then we do the charter together and do the prevention together and do all. But again, there are no guarantees because shit's going to happen. And then you have conflicts. And when they happen, oh my God, that's going to be fast. This is the part where you have the passion. You know that part of the fight where after 5 minutes, I have no idea why I'm doing this? It's like, I really want to beat the crap. It's just not really remembering what really happened. This is the part where your adrenaline is taking over. You're violent. You're verbal. And in business environment, this is the part where you write this email. You guys know this email? Okay, now I'm writing it. And you're just so much stress. It's exactly like fighting. You're sweating. You don't know why. And you're so angry. And you're writing a lot of stuff. And then when you're done, you do the most stupid thing in your life. You send it. Guys, please, when you're upset, when you're angry, write the email. Write it in a Word document. Write it in the email, buddy. Just be careful not to push it. Just don't send it. Go get coffee. Go get shisha. Go get whatever you want to get. Just don't send it. Wait a little bit. Because at that moment, it's not you who's sending it. It's somebody else. And I'm very serious now. It's not you. Your whole decision-making process is being taken over by something else. What do we do in that part? We get into the crisis management mode. And what do happen in the crisis management mode? We try to minimize losses. We try just to minimize losses. And then we move into conflict management. Now, what is conflict management? It's minimizing losses, because now the crisis is less. People are beating each other a little bit less. And we're trying to get the best out of whatever is happening. We're trying to get the most of the benefits of what's really happening. Hold on, are there any benefits for us fighting? About to break up the company? About to break up our relation? About to go to war? Are there any benefits coming out of this? Yes, and that's a longer story. There are benefits for all the stakeholders. Those who are involved directly in the conflict, and those who are involved indirectly in the conflicts, and those who are very far from the conflict. There is stuff that you can get out of this. From a business perspective and from entrepreneurship perspective, one of the best and amazing benefits of conflicts is you get to know each other. Why do we try to resolve conflicts? What is the purpose? What is the drive? Anybody? Yes? We're different. That's why maybe we have conflicts, right? But why do we try to resolve them? We want mutual benefit. What's your name? Radwa. You're from Affectiva, right, Radwa? So Radwa, can I have your mobile, please, for coming couple of days? See, she was nice, right? She's like, yeah, sure. It's like, yeah. Oh, no. Why? Do we have a conflict now? How do you solve this? Do you care about resolving it? Why? No, because I'm embarrassing you. You have a spotlight now. It's the only reason you're even having this talk. I mean, don't pretend. Come on. Come on, we know better than this. But let's assume that you actually care about this. You have two choices. Walk away is like, no, I'm not giving you the mobile. We're not doing this. Just walk away, right? Or sit down and talk. Why would she sit down and talk? Why would she take my call? Serious question. Think about it. Yes?
Curiosity.
Curiosity. That's nice. That's nice. Yes? Personal interest. What is the interest? She can just walk away. Just take the mobile and walk. But she doesn't want to sell it. That's the point. She does not want it. We have a conflict because I want something that she wants the opposite of it. Yes? Uh-huh. Who said that there are more benefits if you stay?
we believe there must be a reason. There must be a reason. And
Must be a reason for me making the offer?
maybe she didn't understand. Maybe she would like to understand
Okay,
more.
I'm going to
It's
repeat
fine.
that again in case it's not clear for you. I'm asking you for your mobile, for your car. You're not interested in selling it. You're not interested in having the discussion with me. And your answer is very clear. Dude, I don't care. Oh my God. So give him a big hand. Now, in speaking, that is usually a sign of highly interactive audience or an audience who wants to just get done with this and move on. Please, here's my mobile. Take my life and just move on. All right, thank you. I'm going to keep this for a second. And man, oh my God, like your son looks exactly like you. Spitting copies. Yeah, but here, I want something that you don't want, and you don't care about it. You don't care about me. Why would you bother take my phone call, sit with me, talk to me? Because you what? You have nothing to lose to sit with me, right? Well, I'm assuming you have a little bit of time that you'd like to do something with it. Sleeping, visiting, go to family, beach. Oh my God, you don't have, oh my God, you need a life. Yes?
Maybe you have leverage or some sort of
What's your name?
coercion.
What's your name?
Andrew.
So Andrew, I really like how your brain works because the first thing you've thought of leverage and then automatically coercion because leverage could also be reward, right? But I like, I mean, you're in the right place, man, in the right country. Just saying. We negotiate for the lack of a better option. That's it. It's a purely calculated economic decision. If I can resolve the conflict without talking to you, I will beat you up. I will take the mobile right now by force from you, and I would not waste another second talking about it. Now tell me why I wouldn't do that. Anybody? That's not civilized. So you're assuming that I'm a civilized person who actually cares about being civilized, right? Huh? Nice. There are repercussions, like I would go to jail, right? What if I know for sure that I will not go to jail? What are the repercussions? Go on, carry on. Social, it's gonna look bad. You're a violent person, you're stealing stuff. Okay, fine. What if it doesn't happen? What if I don't care? What if it already exists? Like everybody knows I'm bad. My values, yes. Now that's very related to what you're saying. Me as a civilized person, my values, how I feel about myself. Dude, come on. I don't care. Effort, right? Maybe my guilt. What if the cost is zero? Everything that you guys said, which by the way, I totally accept and agree with 100%. What if the answer for everything is none, nil, nada, zero? Would I sit down and negotiate with her? Wouldn't make any sense. The only reason we decide to sit down and negotiate is because there's a cost. There's a cost that if we don't do this, we're going to pay. I'm going to feel bad inside. I'm going to feel guilty. If I don't do this, there's a price that I will pay that could be a fine, coercion, or there's a reward that is an opportunity cost that I might lose. So I might as well sit down and talk. I might have bad treatment. I might be treated not a very nice way, and I don't want to do this. There is a cost. There might be war. I might be fired. They might leave my company. I might be alone. When there is this cost, we sit down and talk. Here's an interesting thing. If you agree on this, and I know that I can see from the faces of you that you have something to say about that, which is totally fine. But think about it for a second. What does that tell you? The best way to make sure that people are sitting down to resolve conflicts is that the cost of not resolving conflict is much, much higher than resolving conflicts. So make it expensive if you don't sit down and talk to me. I'll make it expensive for you. And it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's not necessarily I'm going to punish you, but I have something that you really want. The real question that I want to move to right now is, how do you come up with this? How do you make an offer they cannot refuse? I mean, that's the whole trick. You make me an offer I cannot refuse. How do you make that? And the most amazing thing is people make offers that they cannot refuse to you. Like, I'm going to pay you a lot of money. Yeah, no. I'm going to give you more equity. No. We're going to be friends like I care. Like, come on. What exactly are you offering it? People most of the time offer things that they think are good for other people. You wanted to say something about sitting down on the coast. Because I love who? Yeah, and the cost would be, totally. No. Thank you. So when I say the cost, doesn't mean it's materialistic. That it's not materialistic. It could be anything. It could be spiritual. It could be love. It could be, if I don't do this, I'm losing this love. I'm losing the opportunity of having this healthy relation with these people. That's totally fine. Totally fine. Thank you. That's really very good clarification. عندي إحساس إن أنا مش عايزك تتكلم. ده إحساس داخلي إن أنت تقول حاجة أنا مش عايز أسمعها صح؟ Please go ahead. I'm just kidding. Go. Shoot. I really like how this just became interactive all of a sudden. That's really good. Yes. Yeah. Very good. Very good. I'm very bad with names, so you have to forgive me, really. What's your name again? I know you're just speaking. Yeah, it was really interesting. Samah, right? Okay, so what do we learn from this? You trust your guts. When you have a feeling that you don't want to give the mic to someone to say something, don't give it to him. Just don't give it to him. Don't be embarrassed. Just don't give it to him. No, that was really good. That was really good. But let me tell you something. For me, at that part, it's a little bit of linguistics, and I'm willing to really take that onward. But at that moment, for that purpose, it's potato. It's the same thing, because whether it's value, whether it's cost, it's an opportunity cost for me. If you don't do this, then there's something that you might lose. Okay? Now, what happens when we get into that point? This is the point where all the parties in the conflict are so tired, and the cost for them is too high to continue. Before that point, they don't work on resolving conflicts. Before that point, they just keep going, and they just keep going, and they just keep going. I had a clicker with me. I don't know. There's some money here, by the way. I don't know. Yeah, might take them. Yeah, okay, I'm taking them. So what do? We move into conflict resolution methodologies. That's going to be very quick. If you're interested in more, you can come and see us at 2 o'clock. I don't know in which room, but we'll find out very soon. First thing, negotiation. You start talking to each other. That's the first thing people do. We need to talk, but then it doesn't work. What do? You get people in the middle, and you go into mediation. Doesn't work, you go into arbitration. But then some people just take the easy way out, which is, who cares? Let's just go to war. So you can go into litigation, go to court. What happens in court? You might get one thing done, but the cost is very high on the relationship. Or just go into fighting, aggression, war. But then there is process. Just pay attention to this. When the conflict and the resolution is done, it's not over. Then you have mitigation of implementation of what really happened, and then you have the termination of the conflict, and this is the toughest part, transformation. And I would like to invite you, anybody in this room, focus a lot on everything that Mark said over here, but I can tell you that our biggest failures are usually here. So there are good negotiators out there in the world who can solve stuff, business or non-business and stuff, but actually to go into war and get done with the war and tell people, like, we have a good idea for you to sit together. Now sit together. Now be nice. Have trade. Why are they doing it? It's also another kind of cost, right? But what's transformation? Transformation is a very long process where, again, you humanize the enemy, where, again, you change things, and it takes generations and generations, and you need to work on the infrastructure of the conflict itself to make sure that it doesn't happen again. It's really hard, and the successes there are very limited. What is this? Come on, I'm sure one of you knows it, right? All of you smiling, yeah? Yeah, which one is that? Yeah, which one? It's his, right? So this guy doesn't just put any car, he puts his, the first one. Why would you do that? I mean, why would you do that? What I'm really curious about right now, because we talked about the macro level, I'm really curious about is why do people do anything very, very much on the micro level? I don't know if any of you have seen the video when they were really successful, with Elon Musk, when they were successful and the launch happened and he was just jumping like children. And he's a very cool guy who's full of himself. But all of that, because inside all of us, we have the same complications, the same complexes, the same kind of desires and the same things. And what I want you to forget about right now is forget about officials, forget about governments, companies, because they're all made of individuals. Somebody who takes a decision, you know what? I want to do something and I don't know why I want to do it, but I'm going to just do it. Like this girl. So one of our Egyptian friends, help me out. Who's that girl? She ran a marathon and she won it, right? So there was a marathon in Aswan. Nice marathon, very well organized. Everybody's running in the marathon. They're all very well equipped. Shoes, shorts, da-da-da-da. And then this girl who is clearly not very well equipped, probably she's not very economically flourished, she looks around and she's like, hold on, I like that. She jumps in the race. She runs. Nobody understands what's happening. She gets the first place. I mean, if it was like, okay, she's crazy. I mean, she's not going to, she gets the first place. What happens? She gets sponsors and she's very well celebrated. But my curiosity is, what was she thinking? What was happening in her head at that moment? Think about it. That must have been intimidating. All the sponsors and all the ads and everything and all these kids and guys happening is like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going to do that. What happens in your head when you decide something? How do you take decisions? It's not only about conflicts, not about negotiation. How do you take the decision that I will take that conflict and move further? I will resolve it right now. Oh, no, please. Oh, please. Okay, I just need my bag, please. In the back here. ساعدني يساعدك ربنا. ربنا يكرمك ويرزقك ببنت الحلال يا أمير يا ابن الأمرة والله. الحمد لله ما حدش تاني فاهم اللي بيتقال وما حدش سمعني خالص. ده يوم منير من أوله. وانا عمال اظبط الحاجه وفاكر ان الحاجه هتتظبط. فين الفيشه اللي هنا؟ بنا مرار طافح. اوكي. في دايناميك اجايل اكتر من كده عايزه ايه بقى؟ ايه امر اكتر من كده بقله ادب بقى يعني. ما ينفعش اللي بتعملوه ده خالص. Okay. So whether it's conflict, it's negotiations, whatever, is how do you take your decision? What are the elements? And I'm pretty sure at least half of you are very well qualified intellectually, educationally, to come up here and give us a very nice presentation on decision making and process of decision making. But I want to take it a little bit in a different direction. I want to talk to you about a couple of elements that I'm sure some of you are familiar with, but sometimes, even if we know it, we don't pay attention to. Sometimes we're affected most of the time by things around us that we don't give them enough value, like norms. And there are a couple of kinds of norms. The first one is, what do you call this? The social norms. What people around us want us to do. What people around us just do. Yeah, I'm a big fan, yeah. But that's interesting. I work mostly with adults, okay? But sometimes I get invited because I'm such an amazing, charming person to talk to kids. And in case you know anyone who's teaching kids, anywhere between 5 to 14 and 16, these are the real superheroes. I don't know how they do that. When you work with children, and it's really challenging and it's really amazing, I'm not qualified for it, and you see how they do things, and then you ask them, what do you want to do when you grow up? Anybody has this answer? What did you want to do when you grew up? When you grow up. عايزة تطلعي ظابط؟ مين كانت عايزة تطلع ظابط؟ بس استنى سيبوها لي بقى شوية. اسم حضرتك إيه؟ What's your name? Come on, what's your name? الستاندرد عايز يطلع ظابط. Okay. So you always get these answers, right? I want to be an officer, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor. Now there's only one answer if you ask any kid in Egypt, which is? I rest my case. Everybody wants to be Mohamed Salah, not a football player, no. Mohamed Salah. الحقيقة مش قادر أعذرهم. أنا ببيني وبين نفسي لما أكبر أبقى محمد صلاح, بس I don't think it's going to work out. So I don't know. So why do we want to be who we want to be? Why is that idea there? Why do you want to be an officer or a businessman? I wanted to be a stockbroker when I was 10 years old. Do you realize how scary that is? When I think about it right now, I was 10 years old and I wanted to be a stockbroker. Yeah, you know where did that come from? Wall Street, Michael Douglas. Greed is good. For the lack of a better word, greed is good. And that tells you something about what you want. It tells you something about what you're looking for. And we just ignore it. We just assume everybody's motivated by the same things and we make the same offers. But what happens is we get the social norms telling us what we should do and we shouldn't do, how we should dress, how we should talk. But then we also get the market norms. And in the social norms, we treat each other and we negotiate with each other based on, if somebody can translate that in English, I would really love it. العشم, الخواطر. We have these expectations as family and as friends that as social norms, we will do business in a specific way. So our decision making is based on social norms. We are friends. We've known each other for so long, for the last 2 days in Gona, which means we can be partners and we can sign a contract right now. Please take all my money. That's an expectation because this is what we do. I was accused of being a thief from my roommate. That's a true story. And I thought he was joking, but he said it out loud. You're trying to rip me off. And why? Because whenever we split the rent or stuff like this, there would be like 25 cents or 50 cents left, and I just wouldn't pay them. Just go. Because in my culture, my norms, that's how we do it. In his norm, I'm not going to say where is he from, but where he comes from, you don't do that. You pay me by the penny. So the social norms, the problem was he was not bad, and I was not bad, but I was treating him on social norms, and he was treating me on market norms. There's right, there's wrong, there's calculations, and then you have to move on. I want to take this into how do you behave and how are you affecting your decision, how other people are affecting your decision. What really makes you tick? I'm going to just take another 2 minutes to say something that's very serious that's going to really make some people pissed off, and it's not related to conflict resolution. We are here to talk about impact, consciousness, startups, empower entrepreneurs. The problem is we overdo it sometimes. The problem is the narrative is a little bit overdone. Sometimes we have too much pressure to do things. What I want to challenge you at right now is ask yourself, what is in it for me? Why am I really doing this? Why are you really in this room right now? And if you think there's a clear reason, now think again and ask why again. If it's because it's a session and I have to be in the conference, now think again. Well, because I have friends and he's like, think again. Because it's much more comfortable, think again. Because of the air condition, think again. Just keep thinking until you find why are you really doing things. And if you think you know why you're doing things, please think again. Because sometimes the inner drive that's really hidden, intentionally or unintentionally, is the trick. You need to find it for yourself to find the right narrative that you need to tell yourself to make the right decisions. And you need to find the real interest that really moves people everywhere. And remember that I said interest, I didn't say desire. The interest that really moves people around. And it comes from desire, it comes from sense of purpose. But the problem is, we are told about that interest. We are told that you should be interested in this. We are told by people around us, by our peers, by our community, that we should always, always think in a specific way. My invitation to you is, there's no right and wrong. But once you start satisfying the wrong interest, you're getting the wrong results. Don't be shy of any interest that you have or other people have. It's okay to make money. And as you said with Mark, sometimes making money pays off very nicely, even globally. Don't be shy if you want fame. Don't be shy if your real interest is people. There are some people that the only thing they would work for free. Just give them food, put them in the right crowd, in the right place. Let them have fun. Finding that interest can be really challenging. And when you take it into conflict and negotiation, anybody here would like to read more into this, over the last 30 years, there's a lot of talking about different schools. And one of them is the interest-based negotiation. How do you do negotiation, but you don't focus on the position, you focus on the interest. It's not the mobile that I want from you. It's why do I want the mobile? So sometimes you cannot satisfy my position, but you can satisfy my interest. I apologize for the organizers for taking a little bit too much time. Thank you all, you've been a great audience, and I'll see you sometime soon.